Zamajobe opening up the show and magic. Welcome to the Full Circle. Bertha Charuma with you until 3 this afternoon. So let's unpack what's coming up in the show. The menu looks like this. So we're going to start off with gender specialist and director at Womaniko Transforming Spaces. That's Ricky Minyuku. And we are unpacking the Mbenenge Judicial Conduct Tribunal. And I'm sure quite a lot of people have been glued to their television sets or whatever device you're using to just follow the case. And the lines, of course, are opened if you would like to, share your views, your opinions. And where I'm sitting, semantics. When it comes to the English language, boy, oh boy, it can really get a little bit complex, especially when you start using words in a certain manner. But your views are absolutely welcome, and you can use our lines and use our WhatsApp line as well, which I'll give at the bottom of the menu. Also coming up on the show, looking at the work of the future leaders. Khadifeli Mueng, entrepreneur, author and confidence coach, will join us and chatting about the work that Khadifeli does. And then, of course, on the other side, we're going to be talking about restoring children's dignity, which is an art of justice, not charity. #Mandela Month. And we'll be talking to Nikki Lopes, finance manager and legacy architect at Santa Shoebox. And we'll get to find out how you can contribute to the Santa Shoebox and what are the processes and systems that are in place so that it is user-friendly for you if you would like to chip in or assist. On the other side of the hour, that's 2 o'clock after 2, security measures for the tax season. We're going to be speaking to Lucas Mlefe, cybersecurity expert at ESET. Oh my goodness, when it's time to do your taxes, now they've gone digital and they've improved their systems. But whenever you improve a system, there could be gaps, there could be loopholes, there could be little, blind spots. And we get to find out what are those blind spots and how can you avoid them. That's all coming up on The Full Circle.
The Congolese have a huge mission to silence the hosts. But the Atlas Lionesses are not shaken. They are confident they will keep the people of Morocco happy. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the exciting contest between Democratic Republic of Congo and Morocco this Wednesday, 9 July at 8:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, S3 and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Mandela Month, SAFM celebrates the spirit of Ubuntu, calling on all South Africans to engage, uplift, and do good for one another. Let's share what we have, lend a helping hand, and honor Madiba's legacy through kindness and action. Join SAFM as we bring you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and voices that drive change all month long. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
So we're unpacking the Mbenenge Judicial Conduct Tribunal and flirtatious text messages between Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge and junior legal professional Andy Swamengo were at the center of yesterday's session of the Judicial Conduct Tribunal, in which he faces sexual harassment charges. And Mbenenge told the tribunal that the tone of the text exchanges was rather sensual and not necessarily sexual, and emphasized that he and Mengo had not been physically intimate. So gender expert Lisa Vetten has testified that because of workplace power imbalance between Mbenenge and Mengo, it would have been difficult for her to outrightly reject his sexual advances. Text messages have taken center stage in the evidence, with digital forensic analysts and linguistic experts unpacking their subliminal meanings. Once again, semantics here. So the complainant says they show harassment, but Benenge's lawyers say the tone was neutral and standard. And just to understand what this all means, we do have Ricky Minuku, gender specialist and director at Womaniko Transforming Spaces, to maybe help us understand certain meanings. You know, it's all about content and context, or context and content. It can become a little bit murky, but let's introduce our guest. Ricky, good to have you on the show.
Good afternoon, Bertha, and good afternoon to your listeners.
So let's reflect on the use of digital sexual harassment and how, in this particular case, Judge President Benenge denies, the banana emoji, meaning what they mean, which is the private part, as it hints at a sexual harassment plot against him.
Thanks, Bertha. So, first of all, to say I'm no legal expert. I really come from the perspective of the very necessary social change we need, as we have agreed as a society that we want to address gender-based violence and harassment. And what is the work that we need to do as a society in order to change the current statistics that we have in South Africa? So the challenge is that digital or online sexual harassment has increased significantly over the past few years. It really came to the fore during the COVID pandemic, and our legal systems have not kept up with the changes. And even in the social context that we've got, the interpretation of digital communications has so much to do with the two parties. How I see an emoji or how I read a message would be so different and can be different from how it was intended. All of us know the situation where you receive an SMS and you are reading a tone into the SMS, even as you read it, even if the person didn't intend that tone. And so when we look at it in the frame of sexual harassment, the question is, whose tone are we going to pay attention to? And in this particular case, we're looking at an incidence of communication over a long period. It wasn't just one communication. It was communication over a long period. And the impact of that communication was that the complainant really felt that I am being sexually harassed. They read those texts as harassment, as unwanted sexual requests. And you can see that also in the text, in the way that she responds to the text, in the way she says no, or in the ways that she doesn't answer. So it's a complex new field. It's an unregulated field. But the important thing for us to know socially is that it can take place in online platforms and digitally. And how then do we navigate as humans in this new society or this new era?
And looking at, flirtation against harassment, so the defense has argued that interactions were sensual or flirtatious rather than sexual. From a gender specialist perspective, what is the critical distinction between consensual flirtation, unwanted sexual harassment, especially considering power differentials?
So I want to start off by saying that what happens when we're trying to arbitrate sexual harassment cases. And when we're trying to arbitrate sexual harassment cases, a lot of attention is paid to the subjective interaction of the person who you would see as the victim or the survivor. So how did they receive the act? The definition of sexual harassment is unwanted sexual conduct, which means it's based on how the person who received the act, whether they wanted it or not. So if we start on that foundation, really it doesn't matter if it was flirtation or sexual or harassment. What matters is that it was unwanted sexual conduct. What matters is Andi Swamengo did not want this sexual conduct. And the reality when we're dealing with victims and survivors of sexual harassment is they often stay in the situation for a long time because they don't know how to say no. They're afraid of the consequences of saying no. And they are trying in gentle ways to say no. So an example is when someone approaches you on the street and you're afraid of what the consequences of a direct no will be. So you don't give a direct no, you make an excuse. Now that can be interpreted by the person who's approaching you as, oh, you do want to continue the conversation. But in your mind, you're just wanting it to stop. And we have to understand this complex reality that we have lived in a society that has tolerated and allowed sexual harassment. And for many women, it is about how do I safely escape the situation and not face further negative consequences, which means a direct no is not always the response you will get.
And talking about safely escaping the situation, right? Then you look at the nuances. What are the nuances of consent when, there is that power imbalance between parties? As alleged in this case between the judge president and a court secretary. I mean, I'm just looking at it, not even the court secretary, between, the judge himself and Mengo. Yes, she is of a lower position and she knew she needed most probably to trade carefully. But also in trading carefully, now when it becomes a court case, how to prove that I was trying to trade carefully can be a little bit of a challenge because, when it comes to the courts, it's either it's in black and white. And one can only imagine the outcome of the case.
It's true. And this is why we need to also focus on preventing sexual harassment from happening in the first place. Because the only ways that we know how to arbitrate sexual harassment is legally, right? And that is a conflictual process. That's a process that's focused on facts. That's a process that's focused on hard lines. I spoke last week on another show about how much gray they exist. There isn't always a clear line, and there's so much gray around the clear lines that we understand to be sexual harassment. And so how do we stop sexual harassment from escalating to the point where now you have to prove that you experienced an abuse, you experienced something that eroded your dignity as a member of society. And this is the difficulty with using legal processes to address these kinds of issues. The truth about it is we need to have social conversations. So when the judge raises culture, it means we must have a social conversation about what is our culture and does it continue to serve us as a society that now says that we do not want and tolerate gender-based violence and harassment. And until we make those changes, we are stuck with legal processes that do not always serve justice, with legal processes that do not respond to the real harm that happens to victims of sexual harassment.
Well, I'm speaking to our guest, Riki Minyuku, gender specialist and director at Womaniko Transforming Spaces, just trying to understand the semantics of language being used in this case where, we've got Judge Mbenenge stipulating that his intention was not to harass. He was actually pursuing a relationship in some manner, and Mengo disputing that fact, saying that is not the case. I was sexually harassed and he was my superior. I had no way out and I just had to, trade carefully. What's your take and maybe your, from where you're standing? Another angle to this situation, like you've just highlighted, the cultural context. And I think just following the case, I was listening to Mengo saying she sent at some point a message to say Happy Father's Day. And in her belief and understanding, when you say Happy Father's Day, you are saying Happy Father's Day to a father figure, which then insinuates she looks at the judge as a father figure. But he felt maybe, this is another way of warming up to his advances. Give us a call. Send us your voice notes and our lines 086 000 2032, or you can send us a voice note on 061 410 4107. And maybe from where you are sitting, what's your take? I mean, these are some of the cases that happen on a daily basis in the workplace where your boss will advance, and it could be a female boss who's advancing to a male counterpart who is of a lower position. How do you handle it? How do you maneuver? Very, very tricky. Very tricky. But your views are absolutely welcome. I think I've got voice notes coming through, or should I take them? Maybe we'll take them after the headlines. And coming back to you, Ricky. Talking, when someone sends you a message, and how we did speak about how we read emojis earlier on as we started the conversation. But like in this case, when someone says Happy Father's Day, and yet they've been, sending signals of, I think I'm attracted to you. You can kind of like sense that they're saying they're attracted to you and they would like to pursue a sexual relationship. But then your response to the very person who's sending you these sexual advances is Happy Father's Day. Does that not then open up the gates for the other party to say, oh, I think we are on track. What I'm trying to achieve here is proper and it's normal?
I think, Bertha, there's a couple of things that we have to start off with.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, there's nothing wrong with pursuing a relationship with someone else. The problem comes at being willing to hear a no and being willing to read the signals of a no. So when someone has made it clear in whatever form, silence is also a way of making it clear that I do not want to have this conversation. When someone has made it clear in whatever form that they
As
do
a
not
song
want
is speaking to Nachi from
then that
Eastern
means
Cape, somewhere
it
around
is
Eastern
yours
Cape.
to accept. That's my
Whatever that's
desire,
now.
and that is okay. It's not to continuously pursue your desire. The second thing is that in a workplace, you have to continue to have cordial relationships. So a message like Happy Father's Day is part of a cordial relationship of ensuring that you can continue to work well with your colleagues.
Ricky?
And so if your lens is
Ricky,
Sorry,
sorry
yes,
to
Bertha?
interject. Sorry to interject. I just need to cross over to the news desk. Just hold the thought. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thoko Didiza, has directed the portfolio committees on police, justice and constitutional development, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, to consider on an urgent basis revelations concerning the safety and security of the country. Nduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of killing 14-year-old Liko Nafose, was not at his girlfriend's place in Davidton in Ekurhuleni on the night the girl learner went missing. And multi-billionaire Elon Musk's social network X platform has deleted its artificial intelligence account Grok's post. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
Is there ever a bad time for a good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
The Twiga Stars want to impress the Tanzanians with maximum points, while Banyana won nothing but a win as a reminder that they are the continental champions. This is the Group C clash of the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the glittering clash between Tanzania and South Africa on Friday 11 July at 8:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and S3. Also available on SABC radio stations at 9 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Unpacking the Mbenenge Judicial Conduct Tribunal with Ricky Minyuku, gender specialist and director at Womanico Transforming Spaces, just looking at it from a different angle. Ricky, welcome back. And maybe if you could continue your thought just before I take the voice notes.
Thanks, Bertha. So what I was saying before we went to commercial break is that ultimately what we need to understand in this situation is that Andi Swamengo felt uncomfortable with the interaction, and it was unwanted interaction. How she tried to communicate that it was unwanted was within a cultural scope of what she felt was safe, right? And if the judge's approach was, I am pursuing her, then everything she says is going to be interpreted by his desire. Ultimately, we have to have a social discussion on the acceptance of a no. It is difficult to accept a no. When I work in communities, I directly ask young men, what do you do if the answer is a direct no? Stop it. And the instant response is, I get violent. I get verbally violent. I call the person names. I tell the person how ugly they are. So we live in a society where women know that a direct no can have such negative and violent impacts that I am forced to find softer ways of extricating from a situation. And this is why we have to have more social conversations and not wait for a trial. Have real social conversations about what is our culture and what is acceptable and what do we need to change in our culture. How do we respond to a no? And what do we need to change in how we respond to a no to enable women to directly say no, no thank you. I myself have said no thank you, and the violence that comes after that is horrible. I find myself running from violence instead of from pursuit.
I think I've got some voice notes. Let's hear what is out there.
Let's have the conversation. WhatsApp voice notes on 0614 104 107.
Good day, Bertha. I'm not going to say my name, but however, given the explanation there, I think this emoji thing, we interpreted it wrong, or the experts, they interpreted wrong. Remember, like, people, they've got the way that they use the emojis. Mostly in South Africa, to define the private parts will be like that peach and then that purple thing. I forgot what is named. So the banana thing, no, let us not look for sensation where there's no sensation. Stop, let us not sensationalize things, and then be honest, like it was a pure flirtatious relationship that went sour between two individuals. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I've been following the case, and it's actually just a sick world. It's a sick man trying to justify nonsense. It's obviously there that this guy was trying to make advances on this poor lady, and it's a sad news of affairs because this is happening a lot in workplaces where men in superior positions, even ladies these days in superior positions, they take right of those who are at a disadvantage. So it's a very sick world. This is Manapi, yes.
Good afternoon, Bertha. It's Ndumiso from Waterfall in KZN. I'm dubbing this case with the title, The Trial of Emojis. I think it's very fitting. And maybe the person you're interviewing there, if you can just find out from them, if does it also happen regardless of that power dynamic that actually the employee makes advances to the employer, not always top to bottom, but does it also happen from bottom to top? I've never heard of it, but I wonder if it also does happen.
I think that's a question I'm going to pose to you, Ricky. I mean, you are in this field and you see, these activities happen quite often. The question, maybe let me respond to the purple thing. It's an aubergine, but moving right along. Does it happen where an employee make advances to the employer?
Yes, it does. And sexual harassment can happen between two employees, so colleagues who work with each other. It can happen between a client and a customer, an employee. And it can happen with an employee making advances on their superior, their manager, their employer. And it is happening profusely. There are so many incidents of it happening every day. We just don't know how to name it. We don't know how to stop it. We don't know how to have discussions. And many, many women don't report it because they are recognizing that this will have real impacts on the livelihood of another person. And that's a side of it we don't talk about. We're thinking about how do I impact another household, another input. I should just endure. And that's what is perpetuating the problem. So we have to have reporting. We have to have cases in order to be able to recognize that it is a problem. It will be dealt with as a problem. And that is what's going to force us now to shift our culture and our behavior.
It's a very, very uncomfortable case for me, especially. I mean, looking at, it's someone of high profile whom you would believe would know and understand, the behavior decorum that is expected in the workplace. But in the same breath, look, let me not judge. I need to also sit back and be as objective as possible. Let's take another voice note just before we get to preventative measures.
Hello, sisters. It's MJ from George here. Man, I'm enjoying your conversation, but I have to be honest, it's leaning in one side. And this is what the judges' lawyers were also saying about the expert, I forgot the white lady, expert on gender, is that, the person seems to be sympathetic to one side and not sympathetic to the truth. So I think that to balance this equation, this conversation, you should have maybe someone who comes in here who maybe has been accused, like Java, of false accusations of SA or even sexual harassment. To balance the conversation. Otherwise, it just sounds like a bunch of people complaining and not really trying to find solutions because it's one-sided.
Well, it's a point taken. Preventative measures, but before we get to preventative measures, the voice note that we've just had, that we need to balance the scales in a case like this, because we have to wait until proven guilty, which is absolutely true. From where you are, Ricky, how would you respond to that?
I think it is true. We do need to balance the scales. Men are experiencing a lot of sexual harassment and do not feel free to talk about these experiences of sexual harassment. Reporting amongst men is well below, almost half the reporting that you would have amongst women. So the issue is sexual harassment, and how are we talking about it as a phenomenon that really erodes the dignity of people. And we can only do that when we create spaces that are safe enough for men to say, I have experienced it. I don't think the two counters are victims and those who have perpetrated or those who have been accused. We worked on, with my colleagues at Run to the Monster, we worked on a docuseries on sexual harassment, and we could not get a single man to be a storyteller because it is not acceptable in society for men to say, I've been on the receiving end. And because it is traumatic for men to talk about being falsely accused. But if we want to really change the behavior and change the cultural norms that have enabled sexual harassment to continue, we need to be able to open up the spaces for these kinds of conversations. So even a judge like Justice Mbenenge, he knows that in terms of our Constitution, you can't claim cultural right at the expense of other rights, like the right to dignity and safety and gender equality in our Constitution. But he has done that because he believes that culture is an excuse and can be an excuse. Ultimately, sexual harassment is happening between two people, and it is how they interpret the situation and how they then step back from the situation and stop the behavior.
Let's look at preventative measures. What can be implemented within institutions to make sure, they foster a gender equitable environment and reduce the incidence of sexual harassment?
So what you want to do is create a culture of respect and safety. And creating a culture of respect and safety means you have to open up spaces to have conversations about sexual harassment. We can no longer keep it a taboo issue, because when we don't talk about it, then we don't examine all of these internalized excuses that we have, like, oh, it's my culture, or it's my intention. We don't get the balance that your last speaker spoke about. The balance has to be not only intention, but what then was the impact? Because in a relationship or in an engagement between two people, it cannot be your intention that is the primary focus. It has to also be the impact of your actions on others. We need to have more training on sexual harassment. People need to understand what it is, what it looks like. They need to understand that the messages you are sending in WhatsApp and on online platforms, that also constitutes sexual harassment. People need to understand what are the ways that we can stop it that don't lead us to these legal processes where we're now trying to find a bottom line that doesn't serve the nuances and complexities that we have seen coming up in the case, and that all of your listeners are raising, this but this and this but that. How do we stop sexual harassment is by being able to raise that I feel that I experienced unwanted conduct, and to have the parties who did the conduct say, oh, that wasn't my intention. I can accept your impact, that it impacted you that way, and I apologize. I will stop the behavior.
I've got a call. Let me just go to Vusi in Gqeberha. Vusi, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Hi, good afternoon, sisters.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead.
Super. My opinion into this case, I don't feel like as if there was any sexual harassment, because if you look at it nicely, they had their own mutual friendship relationship until the judge get involved into the case of Judge Floppe, where they were trying to impeach him, and then the judge voted against them. That is all about. They are just fighting. This lady, she was so unfortunate to be used by these other officials to fulfill their own things. That's how I look at it.
Point taken. That's Vusi. Thank you, Vusi. Have yourself a good one. I think, do we have one more? Maybe we could have one more. No, we don't have one more. I suppose that wraps up the show. But we were talking about, we have to come up with solutions and also have to come up with guidelines, or rather than, where we need to stop at some point. This needs to end at some point, especially in the workplace. It's just becoming a little bit untidy. It happens, and we can't undermine it and brush it under the carpet. It happens. Ricky, maybe your last words?
My last words is to recognize that sexual harassment is happening between two parties. And so our opinions about their interactions don't really matter. What matters is what was the impact of the person who has now raised the case. We can have all sorts of opinions about the political conspiracies behind it, about what an emoji means. The issue is when she received that emoji, how did she interpret that situation? The second thing I want people to know is that reporting statistics are very, very low. Most people do not report sexual harassment. So for someone to get to the point of reporting the case, mean it has been continuous behavior, and the efforts to stop it have not worked. And now they see no other means but to make it an official case. Official cases are very taxing on survivors and victims because now they're being asked, as you can see the public, well, how could you interpret this way? Well, why did you say that? Well, why did you send this message at this time? And understanding the reality for the social and contextual reality for victims means that we do have to arbitrate focused on the impact. And that's what our law requires us to do.
Absolutely. Ricky Minyuku, gender specialist and director at Womaniko Transforming Spaces, chatting to us this afternoon. Thank you so very much for joining us and making time.
Thank you so much, Bertha, and thanks to your listeners.
And maybe just, do you have a site? Maybe if somebody would like to just get more insight into your work?
Yes. So you can visit our site at www.womaniko, spelled WOMANIKO.com. And you can reach out to us via the info message there. And we would be happy to come and support you in having real conversations with real people. That means we hear some of the hard views, but then we also find a way collectively to make sure that we're addressing sexual harassment.
Thank you so very much. Have a good one. And bye-bye for now.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Champions need motivation above and beyond winning. South Africa, show your love and support for the WAFCON defending champions Banyana Banyana. Witness the Caps Total Energy's Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024 from 5 to 26 July 2025 on SABC Plus, S3, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Mandela Month, Nelson Mandela once said,
"We have traveled a long journey. We have fought for peace and reconciliation, for social justice, for all men, women, and children."
SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
Herman Mashaba's response is so interesting, and he said, "John, when I was the mayor of the city of Joburg, I fired 3 DA Mako members for corruption. The party kept them as councillors. South Africa is not going to succeed in fighting corruption for as long as we apply double standards. Corruption is
no
corruption."
Such thing. The whole country knows Ashraf. You can't trust anything Herman Mashaba says. One day, he's a flip-flopper on plastic notes. If there's one politician in this country who's renowned for being a flip-flopper, who's unable to stay true to any public comment without changing it the next second, it is Herman Mashaba.
Karabo Kaukau, the DA national spokesperson.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And coming up next, a feel-good story. She is passionate about developing the next generation of leaders and inspiring others to overcome their fears and shine. The theme for youth this year, skills for the changing world, empowering youth for meaningful economic participation. And she is a serial entrepreneur, an inspirational speaker, and a published author. Khadifele Moeng, a founder and CEO of Future Leaders Academy, which launched in 2017 and focusing on empowering young people to find their voice and gain confidence through public speaking and storytelling. Khadifele, good afternoon and welcome to the show. I don't know why I'm thinking it's morning.
I almost also said, good morning, Bertha. Good afternoon, Bertha. I'm good. And how are you doing?
I am fantastic. Thank you for making time. Well, this is a really feel-good story. Someone doing something great and fantastic. Maybe let's start off by, if you could just elaborate what your organization do, your core mission and vision here.
So what we do at the Future Leaders, we teach young people how to be confident through public speaking, to speak with clarity and conviction. Our course is just a 12-week course, and we teach them as well to start businesses, bring those businesses to life, and try and make those businesses succeed. So we're all about empowering young people between the ages of 13 to 25.
And how did this idea come about, though?
So, as I think they say that your mess is your message. So growing up, I needed to have a mentor. I wanted a mentor. I didn't know how to approach people to mentor me. And I then grew up without goals, without any direction to my life. And then I just grew up. I had kids. Okay, I like to say I had 2 unplanned kids because I didn't have goals. If I had goals, I think I would have structured my life differently. I love my kids. Don't get it wrong. And so I was timid. I didn't know how to communicate with people. So in 2016, I developed myself. I enrolled into a self-development course, and then I became confident, and I learned public speaking. I became confident. That's when I started the first business, and then the second one, which is the Future Leaders Academy, in 2017. And then I realized that, what I have learned as an adult, if I knew it when I was younger, I would have maybe been successful at an earlier age. Then I decided, I am going to be the mentor that I never had to the young people. So that's how the idea of Future Leaders came about. I then decided that what has helped me to be confident is exactly what I'm going to teach the young people, because if I had learned that at a younger age, I would have been in a different story altogether. So I then mentor them. I teach them that you are able to achieve your dreams. Doesn't matter what age you are in or at.
And maybe can you give us an overview of what your program entails? I know, you can't exactly give us extensively, but at least the basics.
Okay, so it's a 12-week program. When we first meet, we teach young people how to deliver what we call an icebreaker speech, and then the following week they come and then deliver an icebreaker. And then we teach different kind of speeches. They will learn how to do an informative speech, which is like a researched topic. They will come and deliver a research topic. One of the young people said that they want to be a neurosurgeon when they grow up. So what they did then is they went to research the brain, and then they came to teach other young people what the brain does, everything that they had to find out about the brain. And then we teach how to do PowerPoint presentations. When you attend meetings or presentations and then there's death by PowerPoint, people put so much words into PowerPoint. We teach them how to do proper PowerPoint presentations. Fast forward, we teach special occasion speeches, we teach how to inspire your audience, and then we brainstorm business ideas. We bring those business ideas to life. One of the Future Leaders is currently working on professionalizing her coding business. So those are the kind of things that we teach them, and then we teach them how to plan, organize, and then prepare for events. So they have to plan for their graduation. So that's planning an event in detail. And then on the 12th week, we invite parents, friends, and family to come see their newly developed skills that the Future Leaders have, and then it's their graduation. So in a nutshell, that's what we do.
Look, you're a published author, number one, distinguished Toastmaster, number two. The list can go on. And what sort of critical qualities or skills do young people from where you are, because you're so immersed in this work, do you feel young people need to really zone into?
I think confidence is a very critical skill that young people need to have, because you can have ideas, you can have things that you want to say, but if you're not confident enough, you will never be able to stand and say, this is what I think, this is my opinion. So young people need to have confidence in order for them to progress in life. I'm just going to go quickly back to my story that I struggled to do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't have confidence. Immediately when I started gaining confidence, then I was able to now move forward with my life, plan better, be able to articulate the ideas that I have. Confidence is a critical skill that young people need.
And then just before I release you, I just want to know, in terms of the community, how do they engage with your organization?
So they can find us on social media. They can go straight to my Facebook page. It says Khadifele Moeng, or they can find me on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, it's Khadifele Moeng DTM. On TikTok, there will be the Future Leaders page. And on the website as well is the futureleaders.co.za. I've got application forms there. I've got my contact details there. They can get in touch with me. Then I'll take them through how to enroll their young people into the course.
That's Khadifele Moeng chatting to us this afternoon, entrepreneur, author, and confidence coach. Thank you so much for making time. And do let us know and give us feedback. And also tell us some good stories the next time we have a conversation.
I definitely will do that, Bertha. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, and bye-bye for now. Thank you, Bertha. On the top stories, Didiza calls on security cluster to brief the National Assembly, and for murder accused granted bail. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Toko Didiza, has directed the portfolio committees on police, justice and constitutional development, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, to consider on an urgent basis revelations concerning the safety and security of the country. This in the light of statements by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is affiliated to persons linked to criminal activities. He also indicated that top police officials are involved in criminal activities. He wants the portfolio committees to, in terms of their respective mandates, consider the security matters and report to the National Assembly. National Police Commissioner Fani Masemula has confirmed that security has been tightened at the home of KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi because he has been receiving death threats. This after Mkhwanazi made corruption allegations against senior police officials, including Minister Senzo Mchunu. Mkhwanazi has accused them of having links with criminal syndicates, including drug cartels in Gauteng, and interfering in police operations. Masemula says Mkhwanazi needs protection.
In terms of physical protection, you know that, as I said, he's been getting threats to his life in that province. We have beefed up his security, but he won't be persecuted. From my side, surely there will be no persecution of any member of South African Police Service, not only him, but anyone.
Mduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of killing 14-year-old Liko Nafose, was not at his girlfriend's place in Davidton in Egoruleni on the night the girl learner went missing. This is the testimony given by the investigating officer Moses Samosa in the Roodepoort Magistrate Court today. This was also supported by her girlfriend Bingi Kanzo in court last week that he was with Kanzo on that night on May 31st. Fosa's mutilated body was discovered in bushes the next day, not far from her home in Durban Deep in Roodepoort. At the time of his arrest, Mnisi was on parole for his 2009 robbery and attempted murder case. Refilo Mekwa reports.
The court heard how data from a cell phone tower showed that the accused, Mduduzi Mnisi, was not at his girlfriend Pinky Khanso's place in Davidton. This new evidence contradicts Khanso's testimony during the last court appearance, where she said she was with Mnisi that night. The investigating officer, Moses Semosa, says Mnisi was traced to Davidton in the afternoon of May 31st and later at night at Kagiso near Rodoport. Mnisi's parole officer told the court that he violated his parole conditions by going to those places. Simosa told the court that he is struggling to get hold of the main witness.
Eastern Cape Judge President Selby Mbenenge says that the lodging of a sexual harassment complaint does not mean it is an established fact, but rather an allegation. The top judge is currently at pains to defend himself against allegations of sexual harassment in the workplace before a landmark sexual harassment probe. Benenge is accused of alleged sexual harassment by Junior Judge's Secretary Andy Swamengo in the form of in-person interactions and electronic communications between June 2021 and November 2022. The top judge, during cross-examination, stated that just because the complainant lodged a complaint does not mean that there was indeed sexual harassment.
I see the shape of these proceedings from time to time. Even the chairperson had to interject. When something is said about somebody has been threatened, the way in which the tribunal is addressed, it's as if it has happened. The same approach is adopted, which is that because she is alleging, then it means that sexual harassment. I have previously mentioned that the fact that she lodges a complaint, it is an allegation. It does not necessarily mean it is correct. Otherwise, it would be a far cry from the jurisprudence of this country, which is that somebody is presumed innocent until proven guilty.
Multi-billionaire Elon Musk's social network X platform has deleted its artificial intelligence account Grok's Post, this after it began praising Adolf Hitler and making anti-Semitic comments in response to users' questions. In other posts, it referred to itself as Mecha Hitler. X says it has taken action because it does not support the chatbot's hate speech. Recapping the top story, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thoko Didiza, has directed the portfolio committees on police, justice and constitutional development, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, to consider on an urgent basis revelations concerning the safety and security of the country. I'm Mondilambana for SAFM News Headlines at 2:30.
Join us for this year's fundraiser, Jazz for Young People concert at the National School of the Arts on the 26th of July. This unique event, perfect for families, is a powerful celebration of youth, creativity and community spirit. So bring the whole family to enjoy a wonderful day of world-class jazz curated by Zoe Mudicha, featuring the Parktown Girls Band, Tshwane School of Music, The Real DJ Zandi, Kutlotaro Jazz Band, and many others. Tickets are just 80 Rand and 50 Rand for kids under 12 via Quicket. Jazz for Young People is proudly brought to you by Standard Bank Joy of Jazz.
My name is Renelle Tamlin Donnelly and I play striker. What do my teammates call me instead of my actual name? As you know, guys, because I wear a weave, so they call me Slay Queen. Guys, I slay it, so yeah, my favorite hairstyle is a weave. Have I already planned my secret celebration for when I score my first goal at RAFCON? I have, but secret is the code, so tune into SABC Sport to catch my secret celebration in the RAFCON tournament.
Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Kathy Motlatlana on SAFM.
So why I'm asking the question in this way, Mr. Ngumalo, is because I want to know, did you conduct this raid before or after the briefing that was held by General Mkhwanazi on Sunday?
I cannot be specific in terms of time, but what we can state is that these are the two raids. And
but why does it matter? Why does it matter? Because this is a raid that has already happened. I'm not asking you to give us details of raids that you're still going to conduct. Singabako Ngumalo.
If you're ready to talk, I'm here to listen and nothing is off the agenda.
Living your best life on the Full Circle.
Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Kubalulekile uzame zonke indlela zokujabulisa isinqandamathe sakho. Kubalulekile uzame konke okusemandleni ukuthi sijabule isilavithi sakho. Ingozi enkulu ukuthi kufika umuntu ezama ukwenza into ongayenzi wena. Uzosola ubani sebamchamile, sebamthathile kuwe. Awuthi ukunyusa amasokisi uzoyazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Mnike ungamnqabeli injabulo, mnike kuzoba mnandi ekhaya. Yenza konke, do all the best you can. Ungarelaxi, mele kwenze wena. Mnike akufunayo, mnike akudingayo, uyakwazi konke wena. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Uyayazi lento ayifunayo, mnike yona, mnike yona. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Umengayitholi kuwe uzohambe ifuna, angeke kusaba mnandi ekhaya. Mnike, mnike ungamnqabeli, mnike, mnike ungamgodleli.
That's Afro Traction. Well, just to recap, if you've just missed the better part of the show, from the beginning, from top of the hour, that's from 1. We spoke to Riki Minyuku, gender specialist and director at Womaniko Transforming Spaces, unpacking the Mbenenge Judicial Conduct Tribunal. Also, Khadifele Moeng, entrepreneur and author, confidence coach, looking at the work of the future leaders. Very, very inspiring. Now, coming up in this second hour, Nikki Lops is on standby, finance manager and legacy architect at the Santa Shoebox. Hashtag Mandela Month. What have you done? Well, restoring children's dignity is an act of justice, not charity. That's what the foundation believes. So today, 6 out of 10 South African children live below the poverty line, with many attending school without access to the basics like toothbrush, soap, washing clothes, and many other basic things. And this doesn't just affect their physical health in terms of preventable illness like gingivitis, skin infections. It also affects their ability to learn. Many children report that stigma keeps them from forming friendships or participating in play, and some children avoid interacting with peers out of fear of being judged, while others are actively bullied because of their appearance or health issues. Now, this isolation takes a heavy emotional toll, leaving them feeling embarrassed, ashamed, very anxious, and over time the feelings chip away their self-esteem and confidence, often manifesting as behavioral issues in the underperformance and trajectory that denies them the opportunity to reach their full potential. Consequently, many children stay trapped in a cycle of poverty and marginalization. Those are notes from Zelensniak, which basically adds on or put gravitas to the conversation that we are about to have, talking about restoring children's dignity, which is an art of justice, not charity. Nikki, good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
It's so lovely to be on your show and chat to your listeners.
Thank you for making time. So we're going to talk about, the Santa Shoebox. Maybe if you could just elaborate and give us a little bit of insight as to what it is so that our listeners are also in the loop.
Okay, the Santa Shoebox project started almost 20 years ago. A project to pack boxes for children in need to restore their dignity. And I think that is the most important part of that every single box that we send out into the communities is a box made specifically for that child to restore their dignity. So the essential hygiene products that most of them are lacking, your face cloth, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your soap, are all in those boxes. So our focus is definitely on, one, making the child feel they are seen because that box has their name on it. It is packed specifically for them. And two, making sure that they have the essentials to restore their own dignity.
I'm sure an intense strategy was pondered on. Talking about when you look at justice rather than charity, influencing the fundraising strategies and donor engagement, are you seeing different types of funders, collaborations emerging from such a strategy?
We do, and I must say we are very well supported, specifically in the hygiene field, by big corporate donors who make sure that we have sufficient stock of the essentials to put into our virtual Santa shoeboxes, which are obviously our focus for Mandela Day is the sale of virtual Santa shoeboxes, which the public can buy on our website, so they don't have to do anything themselves except pay the money, and our team of volunteers will then pack those boxes on their behalf. So and I must say our corporate donors are very good at looking after us when it comes to hygiene products.
And how do you identify your beneficiaries?
So the beneficiaries, we have a process whereby any facility in South Africa can apply to receive boxes from us. This year we had applications for over 400,000 children. of which we will only be able to support 80,000 through the virtual and the traditional Santa shoeboxes. And we then go through a process of going through, are these the most needy people in our communities? We have a way of whittling down the numbers to really making sure that we are reaching the most impoverished children within our society.
And in terms of longevity, do you see it growing? Is this a matter of starting a project that actually solves the problem immediately, or this is a project that you actually intend to carry on for a very long period of time?
Well, I think we've stood the test of time already. We've been around for 20 years. And you know what, it becomes evident now that we're 20 years old that what we have done for children in the past has impacted hugely on their lives, because those people are now coming back as donors, as volunteers, as people heavily invested and involved in this project. So it definitely, the impact that we make on a child's life in their early years definitely reaps benefits long term.
And maybe if you could just explain a little bit about the personalized nature of the shoebox, if there is one.
Yes, so every single shoebox that is pledged by our wonderful donors is for a very specific child. It is not a generic box that is packed for a 6-year-old. It is a box packed specifically for Umpo, who is at a facility that is unknown to the donor, unfortunately, but and obviously for the protection of the children, but known to us. And we are basically then matching the donor with the child on the other end and making sure that that specific child receives the box that the donor has packed for them.
And then how do you measure your impact? Let's say you've gone into a specific area, you've worked with a specific area. How do you then go back and find out that whatever it is that you've done has worked?
It's a very hard one to actually measure on an ongoing basis, obviously because of the nature of it's a once-off gift. But for us as members of people who go out and actually see the boxes being given to the children, the impact, the joy, I think it's beyond description. To somebody who's never seen it, it's very hard to understand that a child can get excited about a box before they get excited about the packet of sweets. So it's heartwarming. It definitely makes a long-term impact, and that we can measure by the number of people who come back to the project when they themselves are capable of being a donor, being a volunteer, being full-time involved with our project.
We're going to take a small break, and I'm speaking to Nikki Lopes, Finance Manager, Legacy Architect at the Santa Shoebox, and where you can donate a box, and that box go towards a child that is in need. When we get back, we continue.
The Twiga Stars want to impress the Tanzanians with maximum points, while Banyana won nothing but a win as a reminder that they are the continental champions. This is the Group C clash of the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the glittering clash between Tanzania and South Africa on Friday 11 July at 8:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus, SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and S3. Also available on SABC radio stations at 9 p.m. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Night Talk with Oliver Dixon.
When leaders need to account, we call on them. When society needs to debate, reflect, and advance, we're here to have the conversation. Join me, Oliver Dixon, on Night Talk every Monday to Thursday from 10 to 12 midnight.
listening to SAFM Radio this Mandela Month.
It is in your hands now.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Well, we're talking to our guest, Nikki Lopes. So this Mandela Day, the Santa Shoebox Project, drawing attention to this often overlooked barrier to learning, offering a way for the public to take direct action by pledging virtual Santa shoe boxes. Nikki, welcome back.
Thank you, Bertha.
So let's say, for instance, I know that you said there is an online pledging. If someone is in the peripheries of the country and they are not able to actually, or they don't have the funds to donate, but they've actually got, physical, stuff, is that also welcome?
Absolutely. Anything that is new and unused, because obviously all our boxes are filled with brand new, unused items, because children that receive them need to know that they were special enough to get new goods. They can contact the local coordinators in whichever area they're in, and those items will be welcomed, because we often need to fill a box that maybe didn't have all its items in, or just make a box look a little bit happier than what we received it in. So all items are definitely welcome, and we have 60 drop-offs around the country, and if you go on the website, they can get hold of their local coordinator to arrange to drop off any of the 8 essential items that we put in our boxes.
And I suppose that then leads to my next question, which is about, changing the narrative and educating those that would like to participate and also be, play a hand in supporting your project. Do you guys have something in place to educate donors to say, this is what you can do and this is how you can go about it?
Absolutely. Our website gives you everything that you need to know how to get involved with our project. So obviously at the time of Mandela Month, we promote the purchase of virtual Santa shoe boxes, and those are a very simple financial transaction through our website, which is the Santa shoe box. Very simple, and it's a financial transaction. The pledging of actual shoe boxes to a specific child only happens from when the name lists are available on our system, and the system guides you through each step. What do you need to put in each box, where you need to take your box once you've completed it, when the drop-off times are for each area. So on our website there is a full instruction to see what everybody needs to do.
Surely, I'm sure you've encountered a couple of challenges, and if you have, what are the challenges and how can they be overcome?
The biggest challenge is we never have enough donors. As you know, this year, as I said, over 400,000 children were requested to have boxes, of which we will hopefully, and we're praying that our donors are coming to our rescue to give at least 80,000 of those children boxes this year. And I'm sure they will.
And in terms of provinces, which provinces have you seen to be more in need?
It's very hard to say that, but definitely our rural areas are definitely in need, and that is where our virtual Santa shoe box comes into its own, because the boxes that we pack at virtual are definitely going out to areas where there is no donor base. So that's a problem in the rural. There are no people able to actually donate boxes in those areas. So that's why the virtual Santa shoe box goes into the areas where there are no donors. So you'll find like little villages up in the Northern Cape, like even Springbok, there's no actual donor base. There are no people that have the means to actually pack boxes there. So therefore, the virtual Santa shoe box that are purchased by a lot of overseas members that are ex-South Africans, they still like to support this project, or just donors that are not close to a drop-off and yet have the means to buy boxes. Those boxes then go to those communities where there are no donors.
And for more information, but maybe even before I get to the more information, in terms of, because we really make so much noise when it is July and it is the Mandela month. Is this something that is an ongoing process, even if it's not July?
Absolutely. Virtual Santa shoeboxes are available throughout the year. We sell them, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is, they are available on our website to be sold throughout the year. Because we pack them, obviously now, from now until the end of September, we actually pack the physical boxes, but they are for sale throughout the year.
And for more information, where do we go, Nikki?
santashoebox.org.za.
Nikki Lopes, Finance Manager and Legacy Architect at Santa Shoebox. Thank you for making time. Let's hope you break your record, whatever record you've put for yourselves, and all the very best.
80,000. We are very much hoping to break the 80,000, and thanks to the support of your listeners and their likes, we are hoping to get there this year.
Thank you, and bye-bye for now.
Do great solutions start with good conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Chasing the Sun. So SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Tune in every Sunday for the highs and heartache and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus anytime, anywhere. No subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines. And it's time for headlines.
Who says talking never solves anything? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Thank you, Bertha. On the news headlines, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Thoko Didiza, has decided against a debate in relation to revelations made by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of serious safety and security concerns. A 40-year-old Limpopo man accused of murdering his 87-year-old mother has abandoned his bail application in the Seshego Magistrates Court outside Bulugwane, and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will for the second time skip a G20 finance ministers meeting in South Africa to be hosted in Durban next week. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
In business, timing is everything. The right moment to expand, invest, or move forward won't wait. So why should you? With Standard Bank's business lending solutions, you get access to the funding you need when you need it. Get a business revolving loan for quick cash flow, a business term loan to scale up, a business credit card for day-to-day expenses, property finance to secure the perfect space, or commercial asset finance to invest in the right tools. Keep your business growing with our business lending solutions. Visit standardbank.co.za/business loans to apply. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Copper Queens are not willing to settle for anything less than a win. But the Teranga Lionesses believe they have everything under control to roar with victory to the referee's final whistle. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. Catch the thrilling action between the West and the South. Zambia versus Senegal this Wednesday, 9 July at 5:30 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Herman Mashaba's response is so interesting, and he said, John, when I was the mayor of the city of Joburg, I fired 3 DA Mako members for corruption. The party kept them as councillors. South Africa is not going to succeed in fighting corruption for as long as we apply double standards. Corruption
there
is
is no such
corruption.
thing. The whole country knows Ashraf. You can't trust anything Ahmed Mashaba says. One day, he's a flip-flopper on plastic notes. There's one politician in this country who's renowned for being a flip-flopper, who's unable to stay true to any public comment without changing it the next second. It is Ahmed Mashaba.
Karabo Kaukau, the DA national spokesperson.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
SABC Education, in partnership with the Department of Health and Dilifa Labantwana, bring you episode 32 of the Side by Side drama season 4, focused on dealing with abuse and violence in the home.
Say and say. Side by side.
Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya you Tina Singama Africa Kenya Tina.
Imange, what's this I hear about Siyabonga trending? Let me see. Do you have the video? Play this video for me. Let me see.
Okay.
Do you want to say this again, Mr. President? You get out of my office.
You are making a mistake, Daddy.
What?
This will ruin my career over what? Some life?
Imange, stop this video. He got what he deserved.
My friend sent this to me. She says the whole school knows about it,
Mind.
Lupumzo. Everyone is talking about it. Look at these comments.
Don't read the comments.
Look, they're saying he must be locked up. And another comment says, where's Imange now? She's probably playing innocent when she got what she wanted from her blesser,
Imange,
Lupumzo.
don't read that. Stay away from social media. Those people have no idea what you went through.
Lupumzo, now he might lose his job over me.
Imange, please. You are not to blame for this. He abused you.
Lupumzo, he never forced me to do
He
anything.
didn't need to, Imange. He used his power over you for his own pleasure.
Listen, Lupumzo, I don't think this was a good idea. Maybe my mom shouldn't have laid the charges against him. Now the whole world knows about this. How am I going to go back to school?
Imange.
How am I even going to face my friends?
Imange, he is a grown man who should have known better. What he did was immoral and not to mention illegal.
come on.
You don't need to feel guilty about anything, okay?
Okay.
No. Who? Are you expecting anyone? Who is that, Imange? Do you know that car?
Imange!
Imange.
Are you home? Come out, we must talk.
Imange, is that?
It's Siyabonga.
No, don't go. Come, let's hide.
I don't want him to be angry at me,
Just stay
Lupumzo.
here and let's be quiet. Maybe he'll go away.
Imange, come out! Or come inside, damn it! I know you are inside. I just want to talk.
Let's just keep quiet.
Damn it, man! You and your no-good mother of yours have ruined me. I've been suspended from school, and now I have police knocking at my door. You and your mother took my groceries and my generosity, and you're throwing right in my face? You are nothing but gold diggers. I spent so much time on you to help you with your maths. And this is the thanks I get? Oh, damn it, man! You are inside. If you don't come out, I'm breaking the straw.
Don't listen. We're gonna... Okay?
Say, Flashes.
Hola, Ntwana.
I need to tell you something very important, man.
Come out, Ntwana. Keep a witch. Hey, Ntwana, easy.
It's about me, man.
Yeah.
I'm living with HIV.
Hey, that's funny. You always have the worst jokes, Kola, man.
I'm not joking, Flashes, man. It's true, brother. I tested positive.
Ay, Mantwana, hey, man, no ways, man. Hey, stop messing around, man. You're always in a perfect shape, man. Hitting the gym, man, that can't be right, Mantwana.
Being fit doesn't make you immune, man, Flashes, man. It's real, my brother. I've been trying to deny it, to ignore it, man. I can't run away from it anymore.
Mantwana, Mara, I don't believe you. HIV, nah? Hola? Mara, you must be joking. This isn't something to joke about when I'm doing it.
It's no joke, Flashes. I wish I was. I really wish this was just a bad joke, man.
Kazimzala. Ntwana yami. Hey, son. Hey, Ntwana. How did this happen?
Life doesn't always go the way planned, Vetu. Now, I've got to deal with it. And I need you to understand, Flashes. This doesn't change anything about me, my brother.
Usho kanje?
Sure.
Hey, Ntwana. Yayizwa, Ntwana. Iyamemeza.
It's Lupumzo. It's fine. I'll call her back.
Ntwana, take the call. I've got to buzz anyways. Hey, Ntwana, I'll see you around. Hey, sure, boy.
Lupumzo. Hi. Come down. What? Okay. I'm coming.
You need to stop right now, Imange. You have ruined everything, damn it.
Siamonga, you need to leave. Siamonga, go!
Oh, you think you can hide from me? You think you can hide from me?
Siamonga, you're scaring her.
I'm so
scared. You're scaring her. Leave!
Hey, back off right now. Back off right now. Hey, leave her now. Leave them alone.
Siamonga, leave!
Back off right now. You, Imange.
Kola, help us! Kola, help us!
It's okay. He's gone now. It's okay. You guys are safe now.
Thank you, Kola.
It's okay.
I thought he was gonna kill us. He was so angry.
It's okay. He's gone. You guys are safe.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Donna.
Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina. Singama Africa, Kenya, you. Tina.
Join us again tomorrow as we sit down with an expert at 2:30 to further discuss dealing with abuse and violence in the home right here on SAFM.
Side by side.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives. If we have rights, shouldn't we also have opinions? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And it is tax season. Have you submitted? Have you done your returns? Big one, isn't it? As South Africa's 2025 tax season kicks off, SARS is warning taxpayers about a rise in phishing scams, impersonating SARS officials via SMSs and emails. I'm telling you, this is the wild, wild west. So fraudsters are sending fake audit notices, requesting personal and banking details to steal refunds. SARS emphasizes it never sends links or asks for sensitive information digitally. With tax filing starting soon, this alert is very crucial to protect millions from fraud. I was just listening. I think I came across an article the other day where SARS has come up with also a system where they do an automation of doing your taxes. And then if you contest or if you feel they don't have all the necessary information, then you have to actually manually submit your taxes, your returns. But otherwise, they've got a system that just automates everything. And I wonder how that is also going to work. But this afternoon, I've got cybersecurity expert at ESET, who will be helping us unpack security measures for the tax season. And I don't know, have you done your taxes online? Have you done your taxes manually? What has been your experience with SARS? I want to just hear from you. Maybe you can send us, your voice notes or give us a call. On 086 000 2032 or send us a voice note on 061 410 410 In the past few years, maybe you've been that particular individual who's just been so diligent and you do your taxes on time and you've often been very happy with the response or even get a rebate. If you're one of those, I would like to know how you've done it and when do you do it, and do you have a certain process that you use, or do you start filing your work way in advance so that by the time it's time to do your returns, you are ready and it's just a matter of click of a button and you send your stuff. Give us a call. Send us your voice notes. That's 061 410 410 or you can give us a call on 086 000 2032. Or maybe you are just one of those unfortunate ones. Each time you do your returns, the taxman will always request you to give him back what belongs to the taxman, which could be 10,000 Rand, 5,000 Rand, whatever it is. Or maybe you are just one of those in that bracket, the unsavory bracket, where you owe the taxman so much money and you don't even know where to start. Would like to hear from you. Give us a call and let's talk.
WAFCON reigning champions Banyana believe they can deliver 3 points to the people of the South. Meanwhile, the West Africans, Mali, have a big task to wrap up their run in Group C with a win. This is the Total Energies Women's Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2024. South Africa tackles Mali on Monday, 14 July at 9 p.m. Streaming live on SABC Plus and S3. Also available on SABC radio stations. Where Africa competes, South Africa connects. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
This Mandela Month, SAFM celebrates the spirit of Ubuntu, calling on all South Africans to engage, uplift, and do good for one another. Let's share what we have, lend a helping hand, and honor Madiba's legacy through kindness and action. Join SAFM as we bring you powerful conversations, inspiring stories, and voices that drive change all month long. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. You are listening to The Full Circle.
Well, let's take a look at security measures for the tech season. And to help me unpack, I have Lucas Mlife, cybersecurity expert at ESET, to help us. Maybe, you could be one of those people that was about to do something that could land you in so much hot water. But Lucas, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
So, how are cyber criminals targeting taxpayers during the 2025 SARS tax season?
So it all involves like SMS messages and falsely claim of SARS, especially when it comes to auditing and tax refunds. So what they basically do is they send a link to via SMS or even via email, which is a scam, all right? And basically all of this is just focused on phishing websites to get your information and so forth. And the whole purpose is just to get you to click on the link or basically get your banking information.
So once you click on the link, you become a victim?
Not necessarily a victim, but what happens if you don't have, let's say, other precautionary measures, like, for example, your phone has a software that blocks certain malicious links, then you might go and think that it is an actual proper link to click on, and you then eventually fill in your details or your banking information. That's what they want mostly. It's the filling in of the information. Yeah.
And what could be the simple cybersecurity tips that you can offer to help people avoid tax-related scams?
Very important, if you get any SMS, make sure you do not click on those links, right? Because one thing that SARS doesn't do, they don't send you SMSs, right? They usually communicate via email, and it's not usually a no reply. It's rare to find no reply. There's normally someone who will communicate to you for whatever reason, right? But very important, whether you have your account, your e-filing account, make sure that you enable what we call multi-factor authentication, right? Which is just another layer of security. And not only that, to make sure you use a password that is not related to your ID, your birthday, or your name, or any of your members, just a sophisticated password, which to get those passwords, you will need to have a password manager, right? Unfortunately, what they do, or what these criminals do, they focus on a person's perception or a person's thinking. And very important, it is, at the end of the day, every person needs to be vigilant, even with these precautionary measures that are put in place.
It's quite scary because I'm just thinking, things should have been made a little bit more easier. AI is here. Looking at cyber criminals using AI, as much as it is an absolutely fantastic way to do things, there's also risk attached to it. And then you've also got deepfakes to lure people into fraudulent tax schemes. How do we mitigate this particular problem? Because, look, AI is fresh. It's new. I wouldn't say fresh, but it's something that is new that most of us are trying to get acquainted to.
So I would say, like you just mentioned, that they basically leveraging from these AI and so forth, right? Now, it doesn't make things easier for someone who doesn't know about AI. It makes it more difficult to pick up. But honestly, it is a matter of, if you are online or do anything online, be vigilant. And very important, let's say you have a laptop and you're connecting via laptop, you're doing things via laptop. Make sure your laptop is actually protected by having an actual endpoint security product. That is one way of making sure you do not, those hyperlinks that you get, those fake or spam emails that you get are actually mitigated. Then you won't have to think twice in clicking on particular emails, because you know that, no, this is actually fake. You won't even be able to see it. So that's another way of mitigating the situation. Now, it's definitely using everything on your phone, because then you're going to have to be just a bit extra vigilant by making sure even yourself, if you're not sure about something, contact SARS. SARS has an actual fraud department, and from time to time, they actually do post the kind of scams and phishing attempts that people do. And that kind of helps you to look out what is happening. In actual fact, to be honest with you, I would say rather everyone, whenever it comes to SARS, every time you do your returns, double check in whatever you're doing. Triple check it. Because if one mistake is done, your information can be implicated, which is actually your identity. And not only that, your bank information can be implicated. So in all honesty, it's all a matter of being more vigilant and making sure you just don't click. If it's too good to be true, it's really too good to be true.
Any telltale signs of deep fake?
Oh, can you repeat that question, sorry?
I said, what are some of the telltale signs of a deep fake?
So many of the times it would be a hyperlink, right? Basically a URL which is linked to your email. Now, SARS doesn't do that. The minute you see that, or even spelling errors, right? Whether there's a E with an apostrophe on top or whatever the case may be, but all those kind of things you need to look at very much. And very important, for example, if you go on the SARS actual website, they do have the identical notification of that. And they actually show you how it looks, and they actually basically give you a link. For example, one of the SMSs would come as Dear Auditor and give you whatever details, but there will always be a hyperlink. So that when you see that, know for a fact that it's what? It's a scam. Right? Now, someone would say, but okay, I don't get those, but on my email, what then happens? If you see anything that's related to SARS.gov.com, and sometimes, in many of the cases, it would say, click here, open your SARS outstanding balance here. And that's where how you'd actually pick up that this is actually a fake.
Mm. And then, with the rise of app-related fraud, we've got mobile thefts. How can then SARS and consumers work together to reduce the risks?
It's basically making sure you don't have, there's that saying that says, don't put your eggs in one basket, all right? Now, the same with your password. Don't use one password for everything. Because if each, like, for example, let's say your SARS login, it's a different password, even using your phone, it's a different password. That's the ways that can help you make sure that you are protected. Having multi-factor authentication is very important. And not only that, having your antivirus endpoint security on your laptop or even on your phone. Now, also take note of the scams and phishing that are there on the SARS website. If ever you experience this situation, it's very important to contact SARS with immediate effect. That's how I would say the information is given by SARS. All we need to do is to go and look up the information and make sure that I am safe online in whatever I'm doing.
Mm. And I've seen that, previously we used to use, but we still are using OTPs. And lately now there's new biometric facial recognition for e-filing, which I attempted the other time. And I struggled so much then too, when it booted me out, for me to, to kick back in, it was a bit of a challenge. That aside, what other trends should businesses be prepared for come we are in 2025, when it comes to cybersecurity?
At this moment, right, there's one big threat for South Africans. It's data. Whenever someone has your data, it's the most way of people using it. Phishing is no more something that we would say, like for example, whenever phishing happens when it comes to SARS, it's around the season when everyone needs to do their returns. So it's something that we know it's going to happen next year again, and it's going to happen the other year because there will always be that criminals who want to do phishing. But the whole thing that they want here, or the trail that you will see, is that it's all about data. It's all about data, getting your data stealing your data, because even if you're filling your bank details, it's all about data. Even your personal information, it's all about data. And the most important thing, even for companies, we've seen it so much in South Africa where there's data loss that was taken away from people. They have data loss, or some have ransomware, right? And all for what? For data. So they'll lose money, they'll lose certain information, but it's all about data at the end of the day.
So let's say hypothetically an individual suspects they've been targeted by tax-related scam, right? Are there any immediate steps that one can take to avoid any further damage?
Definitely. One is to make sure you change all your passwords, especially when it comes to your banking, e-filing, and your emails. All right? Now, very, very important, these passwords must be totally different and not be the same. And another thing, notify your bank or your financial institution to let them know, look, there's a potential fraud. I'm not sure. Just double check, because you find that people will wait. They're like, okay, no, it's nothing, but only to realize that they've actually lost a lot of money, or the information has been sold, and that way you get basically implicated. Someone uses your information to buy things or to do things, right? Not only that, report the incident to SARS via the website, or actually giving them a call, because they actually have this a helpline just for fraud-related cases. So that's the first thing that you should do that will help you to make sure that if ever you feel scammed, you actually can mitigate the situation immediately.
And for more information, let's say, for instance, if somebody would like to know more information in your field of work, do you have somewhere where they can go?
Yes, definitely. They can just contact us on either sales@eset.co.za, or even find us on support@eset.co.za. They can actually even contact us on the following number. It's 021 596 2000. All right, 021 596 2000. Okay, they can be able to get us on that, and everyone will be able to assist them at any given time. They can also just go to our website, which is eset.com/ZA.
Thank you so much. That's Lucas Molife, cybersecurity expert at ESET, chatting to us this afternoon. And that number again, 021 596 2000, if you'd like to be in touch with them. Thank you, Lucas, and have yourself a great one.
Thank you very much.
And bye-bye for now. That wraps up the show, and thank you to my technical producer as well as my content producers on the other side. Let's do this sometime soon. Coming up next, Ashraf Godar with the National Pulse. It is time for news. Thank you, Bertha and the team. On the top stories, Didiza rejects debate on Mkhwanazi's allegations, and Forcer murder accused granted bail. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good afternoon. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Thoko Didiza, has decided against a debate in relation to the revelations made by KZN Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi of serious safety and security concerns. Among others, Mkhwanazi has alleged that Police Minister Senzo Mchunu is affiliated to persons linked to criminal activities and that top police officials are involved in corruption. Two political parties had written to Didiza to ask for a debate on these matters. However, at this stage, Didiza had directed the portfolio committees on police, justice and constitutional development, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, to look into these revelations. Parliamentary spokesperson Muloto Mutapo.
The Speaker of the National Assembly has today asked the Portfolio Committee on Police, Justice and Constitutional Development, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, to consider on an urgent basis, in terms of their respective mandates, the wide-ranging allegations regarding security matters that have implications for the country's national security. In relation to the debate requested by two political parties, the Speaker believes that it will not be appropriate to hold such a debate, as these allegations remain unsubstantiated at this stage.
The Rhodoport Magistrate Court has granted Mduduzi Mnisi, the man accused of killing 14-year-old Likona Fose, bail of 5,000 rand. Fose went missing on May 31st and her mutilated body was discovered in bushes next day not far from her home in Durban Deep, Rhodoport. At the time of his arrest, Mnisi was on parole for his 2009 robbery and attempted murder case. The state previously opposed bail, citing, among others, that Mnisi was a threat to the community. In her bail judgment, the magistrate indicated that the state failed to provide exceptional circumstances not